Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very short video on depth of field and how we control it. So what exactly is depth of field? Depth of field refers to the area of your image which is in focus. So you could have a shallow depth of field or a greater depth of field. Depth of field is directly related to aperture, which is also part of exposure. If you haven't taken a look at my exposure basics video, I'll link it up in the video here. Depth of field is a pretty straightforward topic. And as I've just mentioned, it's directly related to aperture, or the f-stop number in your settings. Depth of field is also affected by the distance your subject is from the lens. The closer your subject is to the lens, the more blurry your background will be. Whereas if your subject is further away from the lens, more of your background will be in focus. So I've taken two photos as an example. I've kept the subject in exactly the same place, and what I've changed is the exposure settings prioritizing the aperture settings. So in the first image you'll see it's at f4.0, which will create a much blurrier background because of the shallow depth of field. And the second photo was taken at f22. And this, as you can see, will create a much greater depth of field, meaning everything is far more in focus. You can see the effect distance has on the depth of field, typically in macro lenses, where the lens allows you to get up very close to the subject and you could see a lot of the background is blurred out. On the other hand, you can see that when you're taking photos of landscapes or architecture or just generally large objects, it's going to be a lot harder to create that blurry background because the objects are so far away. But that's pretty much it for depth of field. I hope this short video helped you understand a little bit more about depth of field and maybe even aperture if you haven't already covered it. As I mentioned before, please go take a look at the exposure basics video if you haven't already started that. As always, please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for future photography videos and tutorials, and I will see you in the next video.